Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the PTC India Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Deepak Amitabh, Chairman and Managing Director, PTC India Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our interaction with you all started almost 17 years back when we got listed in April 2004, and the Q1 2005 was the first investor call. So just remembering that point of time, and on behalf of management team of PTC, I welcome you all once again to the conference call for Q1 of 2022 results of the company. As it is the custom, let me introduce you to my team members. Dr. Rajiv Mishra, Director Marketing and Business Development.
Hello everybody.
And Mr. Rajiv Malhotra, Executive Director and CRO. Mr. Harish Sharan, who is the Executive Director, Commercial and Operations, and Mr. Pankaj Goyal, who is the Chief Financial Officer for the company. The Investor Relations team is represented by Sushant Chaturvedi and Mr. Anand Kumar. Obviously, both of them are well known to the investors and analysts. Since last June, when we connected our annual analyst call, two important policy changes have been made. PMR 2020 has been notified and is effective from 15th August 2021, just 2-3 days from now. And also an ambitious distribution turnaround scheme of more than 3 lakhs crores has been launched by central government to make the utilities sustainable. I just want to assure you that PTC is well prepared to engage with the ecosystem and benefit from the opportunity that the new market and the new market model brings. And these changes present the opportunity, are testimony to this capability is the current quarter's performance which you have seen. I will later on, after some time, request Dr. Mishra to brief us on the business impact of all these changes. Now coming to the quarter, in this quarter's business performance, PTC clocked a 21% increase in volume on the back of growth in short-term trades and the exchange traded segment. In spite of the severe impact of COVID-19 and limited restrictions on economic activities, the resilience of our business model helped us in clocking these growth in the numbers. The increased scheduling of power to states and our service-oriented business contributed in keeping the supply of electricity a vital lifeline of modern-day economic and social activities flowing through this tough period. Obviously, because of prevailing uncertainty, the lockdown was not complete, but it was in parts, but it was very intense this time, the second wave. The volume was contributed more by the shorter tenor contracts. Bilateral trade in short term has made a substantial gain during this quarter. The other segments of trade, long, medium term, cross-border, have performed as expected. The real-time market has contributed around 1.8 billion units during the quarter, which is around 40% of total RTM volume traded during the quarter. Now, when the CFO makes his presentation later on, all these figures and analysis will be shown in much greater details. I have just touched upon the vital points. Now, with this, I'll request our Director Marketing and Business Development to brief on business and likely impact of these policy level changes. Over to you, Dr. Mishra.
Thank you very much, sir, and good evening, everybody. Just on a high note, India has witnessed the highest ever demand of 200 gigawatt on 7 July 2021. This was after a lull of low demand in the month of April and May. As you all know, the country was affected because of the second wave of corona, which hit the country. And PTC during this very tough time has maintained high level of service, both in terms of meeting the demand. High level of demand and the fluctuations in the demand throughout the country. As Chairman sir has just mentioned that we have achieved a 21% growth in the volume. But we have to see this in the terms of April and May was a period when there was a chaotic lifestyle throughout the country and the fluctuations was predominant throughout the country. Scheduling of supply was affected because of the uncertainty in demand, but we could maintain both the electricity supply and cash cycles to control the entire ecosystem in the power sector. As just mentioned by CMD, the short-term volume, because of the seasonal variability and the extent of uncertainty in demand, was predominant, and it reached to a level of 13 billion units in this quarter, and the total volume of this was almost 53% of the total demand in this quarter. The real-time market is the other segment which is more nearer to the scheduled dispatch, contributed almost 1.8 billion unit, which was not so significant compared to the previous year. So this is one product which has added to our volume in this quarter. Medium and long term contributed almost 9.3 billion unit. Of course, we had a fixed contract for all the megawatts what we have already signed for the long term and medium term. But because of the leisure schedule, this time it was less than what was scheduled in the same quarter last year. Retail is a new growth area. Of course, large industrial consumers are always a focus area for PTC India. And I'm happy to share with you that major large industrial and commercial consumer, around 700 in number, are PTC client today. Of course, they are adding value to us through their power procurement in the exchanges and in bilateral. But with the opening up of the power market, these are the potential high growth customer for PTC in future. In the last quarter also, and the year which ended on 31st March, we informed that consultancy and advisory is growing for PTC. Some of the major businesses what we have done is through Energy Efficiency Services Limited, MPA KVN, distribution business in the ports, and many other new important clients which we have not done in past. Particularly, I would like to mention the 5-year consultancy contract for SAREP, in which we have entered a contract with SAREP with RTI USA, where we are going to give advisory and consultancy for the cross-border electricity trade policy and guidances. So this is one important area. Many other important ones are engineering consultancy to Talcher Fertilizer and some of the other engineering consultancy work we have got ordered during the quarter. So with this, we have an order book which is what we generally call in the business parlance unfulfilled order of around 150 crores, And in this quarter, we have completed almost 9 crore of consultancy business. We are also in the energy portfolio management business for some of the state discoms, which includes demand forecasting, supply assessment, sale purchase advisory, renewable energy planning, and many other activities where we are using both our domain expertise as well as the technology to cater to this requirement. To improvise our IT capabilities and the tools to do these planning, portfolio planning, we have earmarked and engaged some of the senior level executives in the company, and we have started a small technology and consultancy center in Gurgaon to kickstart these things. This will enable us to not only develop new products in this line, but also try to give some services as a services to the discoms to make it more value add for the company. Since last couple of quarters, we are discussing about Pilot 2 scheme, and we are at the last leg of getting the PPA signed because we have confirmed order from 3 of the discoms, and we are in the last leg to sign the PPA as early as possible. And as soon as we enter into those PPAs, we will share with you all the details. As Chairman has just mentioned, the power market regulation is one important regulation which we were expecting for long, and we expect that PMR21 will make market more widened, and it will be more vibrant a place where a lot of new products can be introduced, and some of the hurdles which were being faced in the PMR 2010 has been removed. There is a possibility of introducing the market coupling and many other products which internationally are available can be launched after the PMR 21. Most important is one of our company which got the license for third power exchange in the country, along with BSE and ICICI, got its license on 12th May 2021, and the chief of this company operation has been already appointed. Some of the technology issues are getting resolved. The consultant is in place, and the products which are to be introduced through this exchange would be notified shortly. And we expect that in 6 to 9 months, this new exchange will be up and running, and it will come out with innovative new products in the market. Last but not the least is the recent acquisition by PTC, that is ILFS advisory business. We have already intimated to the stock exchanges about this development. Through this, we will be taking over the advisory business of ILFS Energy, and here we are going to get an order book of around 100 crore through a novation of the contracts what they are executing, and with them also we are getting experienced advisory people who will be giving more value to our company and the advisory business we are currently doing. CMD sir has mentioned about the revamping of the distribution sector. A lot of things are happening in this sector. I would just mention that one of the important areas is the revamping of the distribution sector through the scheme which has been launched by Ministry of Power, which is more than 3 lakh crore of scheme. 50% of it will contribute for the metering and invoicing and the automation of that sector, and rest will be for strengthening of the distribution network. This is one area where PTC has played some role. As you know, in the advisory and the O&M business, we have almost 8 clients whom we are serving on this area. So this is a very interesting area for us, and we have our plans. Once more details from the ministry as well as the opportunities will come, PTC is going to play some role in this area. Last but not the least is very ambitious delicensing of the distribution sector. As I mentioned, we are already serving the industrial and commercial consumers, and there will be an opportunity for PTC to play a role once the delicensing of the distribution such sector takes place. So these are some of the things which I thought will be important to share with the investor and analysts, and I'll be ready to answer any other question which you have on these areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mishra. Now I'll request our CFO, Mr. Pankaj Goyal, to share the certain presentation and certain highlights in detail. And after that, we will open for the question answers. Thank you.
Thank you, CMD sir. Thank you, Director Marketing. Anand, I will request you to upload the presentation so that. Now I'll go through the Q1 FY22 results first on a standalone basis. As you can see, the volume has increased by 21%.
Sorry?
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible and it is on the screen
Yes,
also.
sir, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So as I was just telling that, as you can see on the screen also, the volume has increased by 21% on standalone basis to 22.9 billion units from 18.9 billion units during the last quarter. The increase is, as is being shown in the presentation also, the increase is mainly on account of increase in our bilateral short-term trade and the transactions on the exchange. The total operational income, which is mainly consists of the pure trading margin, the rebate, surcharge, and consultancy income in all together has increased by 17% to 135 crore from 116 crore. On the similar lines, the profit before tax has also increased by 13% to 104 crore from 91 crore during the last quarter. The profit after tax has also increased by 14% to 77 crore from 68 crores. The total other comprehensive income has increased by 13% to 77 crore from 68 crore. Likewise, the earning per share for the quarter stood at rupees 2.6 as against 2.29 during the last quarter. Now I'll go through the figures of on the consolidated basis. As you can see that on a consolidated basis, our profit before tax has increased by 29%. Since in the PTC contribution, our other subsidiaries like PTC Financial Services and PTC Energy Limited is also contributing in this on a consolidated basis. So accordingly, the profit before tax has increased by 29% to 183 crore from 142 crore during the last quarter. The profit after tax has increased by 36% to 136 crore from 100 crore. The total other comprehensive income has also increased by 50% to 149 crore from 99 crore. And earning per share on the consolidated basis stood at rupees 4.06 as compared to rupees 3.07 during the last quarter. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we can open this thing for the question answers.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Participants connected may on web call may ask their question by clicking on the raise hand icon on the toolbar on the Q&A tab. Participants connected via audio call may enter star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. When it is your turn to ask a question, an operator will announce your name. Unmute your line so that you can interact with the speakers. If you wish to ask a question via text, you may click on write a question and send your questions via text. Your question will be picked up during the Q&A session by the operator or the presenter. We will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is a text question from the line of Ankush Agarwal from Artifacts Capital. The question is, when PTC says that they have 40 to 50% of volumes on the power exchanges, Does this volumes largely represent electricity transacted by PTC on its own account and the resold to others with some margins?
Dr. Mishra?
Yeah, PTC is basically a trader member in the exchanges, and any buyer or seller can approach PTC to do the transactions on their behalf if they are a registered member through PTC. So we are doing these transactions on behalf of buyers and sellers. When I say buyers, it has to be DISCOMs or any other consumer. And when I say seller, it will be some independent power producers, other generators who are interested to sell it on the exchanges. So any volume or the market share what we are discussing is representing both the buyers and sellers who are transacting through in the exchanges through PTC.
Okay.
Thank you. The second part of the question is, or does it represent volumes transacted by PTC on behalf of its client for a flat trading fee?
Unlike the exchanges where the margins are fixed for buyers and sellers, PTC being an intermediary, it is not fixed, but it depends upon the different contracts and agreements we have with the clients.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. What is the status of divestments of PTC Energy and PTC Financials?
Rajiv Malhotra?
Mohit, to answer your question, like we have been in touch with you guys earlier, the PTC Energy divestment, there are some definite developments, and we are kind of closer to concluding that in terms of having definite offers and so on. PFS, and we by now have also notified, it's in public domain, that we are experiencing a kind of pause, because at this point, given the environment, we are not having any material development to report on this. Hence, we are in a kind of pause situation. The intent remains, and whenever there is a material development as far as further progress on this, we will be notifying you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Rohit Natarajan from Antique. What will be the role of exchanges and traders in a post-MBED world? What is the outlook on converting unsigned PSA of solar power plant into business opportunity for PTC India?
Dr. Mishra and Harish, any one of you can answer this question.
Sir, let me answer it and then Harish can supplement.
Okay.
Post MBED, that means the entire power will not be dispatched through merit order dispatch, which is in practice today, but through a mechanism where the variable cost will be identified in the exchanges. Therefore, it is more a dispatch mechanism rather than a market. So, post MBED, the already entered PPAs will dispatch through the least variable cost plan first, and it goes on ramping up till the demand meets the supply curve. So the role of exchanges will enhance to a great extent, because the entire thing will be decided. The variable cost determination for scheduling will be decided at the exchanges. So the role will be very important there. Similarly, the trader, if there is something in the activity in the exchange, intermediaries has his own role, and to take all the dispatched power intermediaries can play a role, those who are interested to take their services. So this is what my understanding at this point of time. But certainly the market will broaden to a great extent, both for the exchanges as well as for the intermediaries post MBED. Harish, if you want to supplement something.
Yes, sir, I fully agree that market will be expanded. And there was another part of the question regarding solar PSAs, if I am right.
Yeah.
Solar PSAs are not going to get affected as of now because initially the MBD will be started with the, conventional power. So solar PSAs will not get affected.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Manoj Agarwal from Ramesh C. Agarwal and Company. What is dividend policy of PTC India Limited, and whether they would be announced first interim dividend for FY 2021 and 22?
Okay. Thank you. Our dividend policy is well defined, and we have been sticking to it since the time this was announced. And we are committed. We are guided by our dividend policy, which specifies that at least 50% of the profits as distributable profits under normal circumstances. And we want to be recognized as a shareholder-friendly company, and obviously are guided by our board and capital allocation policies in such matters. So so we are sticking to our policy, and it will not be this thing to make any future looking statement in this analyst conference as per SEBI's LODR. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of GD Mundra from My Temple Capital Advisors. Congratulations for excellent set of numbers. Kindly clarify the reason for the lower margin PU from 5.85 paise to 5.51 paise.
I think Dr. Mishra and Pankaj Goel, any one of you can clarify this.
Actually, to explain it simply, Chairman has started the deliberation saying that the volumes was mostly contributed or largely contributed by the shorter term of supply, where the margins are slightly less. The longer term and the medium term has better margins. So as the volume in the longer term and medium term due to corona affected demand was lesser in percentage, the overall margin has slightly come down. But this is again a temporary phenomenon, and it keeps on changing because the long-term and medium-term contracts are fixed contracts, and the scheduling during this period was lesser. So we expect that this can be recovered back to normal once the entire load will come back to the normal demand curve.
Thank you.
Anything more you would like to add?
No, I think you have answered it very well. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is a follow-up question from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. What are the opportunities available under DISCOM reform scheme for PTC?
Dr. Mishra?
Yeah, this scheme is going to change the capability of the supply companies in the country, both the distribution and supply company. So the network is going to improve, and the most important thing is metering and collection is going to improve. So directly, if you ask me, the improvement in collection will help us in collecting more from the DISCOM and in time. That is one. But indirectly, there is a business opportunity for us in the consulting and the advisory space. And we are trying to find out what best we can take out from this once the details of the entire thing comes to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Amit Karawat from Global Financial Services. Up to what time it is expected to start power exchange of PTC? And is there any more plan to divest shareholding in the company? Thank you.
See, it's a separate company, and Dr. Mishra had already told in his introductory remarks that they have appointed a chief operating officer and other hirings are also taking place. Simultaneously, the technology front, they are working, the mock trials have been going on. So as we understand, and Dr. Mishra can correct me, that it should become operational during this current financial year.
Yes, sir, you are right in saying that, sir. By 31st March, certainly it will be operational.
And second question which you have raised, that our answers are very straight. We are bound by the power market regulations, and as we will, our shareholdings will be reflection of the power market regulations.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Devesh Agarwal from IIFL Securities. Two questions. First, update on Pranurja starting its operations. Any update in terms of Power Ministry consultation paper on MBED and market coupling? And with phase 1 likely to start from April 22, what changes will this bring, and will this be achieved on the proposed date?
See, any such type of paper brought out, obviously it is upon the Ministry of Power to take a decision from when it is going to be applicable. It is being discussed, MBED. In my understanding, they have not yet notified the date from which it is going to be effective. The discussions are going on. And if we and any other this thing, Dr. Mishra, you want to add anything regarding exchanges, etc.? Please go ahead.
Sir, you rightly said that as far as the Pranurja is concerned, we are trying to, or rather we will expect the exchange to be operational in this financial year by 31st of March. As far as the MBED implementation is concerned, this is a paper which has been circulated to all the stakeholders, including the states who will participate through this. And they are trying to get the opinion and the views from different stakeholders in this. So this will be a major revamp of the power market. Of course, the timeline has been notified in the paper which was circulated. But keeping the major change involved, we are keeping our fingers crossed that it can be implemented as per the guideline, as per the timeline what they have given. And any other question which was there as the long part of the long question, which is unaddressed? I think we have answered it, so we can move on to the next question.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Asim, individual investor. What is the thought of the PTC India management regarding proceeds from the sale of PTC Energy? Would those be dividend out or retained for other purposes?
As we have stated, that we have stated our dividend policy, and whatever we will do, we are very concerned about the shareholders friendly this thing outlook. So it's too early to say what will happen to the money and when the money is going to come. All those issues, let the transactions get completed, then we will be in a much better position to answer these questions.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Rupesh Sankhe from Elara Capital. Post MBED and market coupling, is there possibility of exchange margins reduction from CERC? What will be our shareholding in PTC exchange? Also, what kind of market share we are looking at in exchange? Thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure, sir. Post MBED and market coupling, is there possibility of exchange margins reduction from CERC? What will be our shareholding in PTC exchange? Also, what kind of market share we are looking at in exchange?
About the margins, etc., it's too early to take a call on that because that is a regulatory domain, and regulators are the best, will be in the best position to tell what is in their mind. We cannot make a comment on behalf of regulators. Now about the shareholding pattern, we have already answered in the previous question that this will be reflective of the regulations, which we are till date we are complying and will continue to comply with the regulations. And thirdly, that what we have stated. See, PTC is a separate company. Pranurja is a separate company. We are one of the shareholders. That company will be bringing out its own business plans, etc., when the things can be answered. But we believe, we have always stated one thing, that it should get good competition, because good competition is good for the overall market and for all the stakeholders, whether seller, buyer, or transmission suppliers or a coal supplier. It's good for everyone. That's all I can say. But Dr. Mishra, if you want to supplement, please go ahead.
No, sir, you have answered all the questions. If anything else they have to ask, they will make it more specific. But otherwise, you have answered, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Do you want to become a member of Pranurja?
Dr. Mishra, you can answer this question.
Right now, it is very difficult to say what the status of PTC as a trader will be in the new exchanges. At the time of operations of the new exchange, we will decide whether we will be doing the business through the existing exchanges or the new exchange which will come into force. So it is preemptive to tell whether we will take membership or not.
Thank you. The next question is an audio question from the line of Ankush Agarwal from Artifacts Capital. Mr. Agarwal, your line is in talk mode. Please go ahead.
Hi everyone. Thank you for this follow-up. The clarification on the earlier question of mine, where you said that most of the volume that we do on the exchange is basically on copper lines for fixed margin, right? So I wanted to understand over here what is the value addition that is provided by PTC for its clients, so that they come to the exchange through PTC, not directly. Like, what is the role played by PTC over there?
See, I'll always say this question has been asked even as a trader since 2004, when I said that we got listed in 2004, that why can't a generator directly sell and why can't a utility directly buy? But that is the dynamics that you have to keep adding value, and we have been continuously adding value, and that is the reason people on the buy side and the sell side on exchanges have been using our services. So I think the best answer can come from the people who are actually utilizing our services. But we give them the flexibility and multiple flexibilities, which are, so it's a product basically. It's a value-added product which we keep creating. And till the time people will keep seeing the value, they will keep coming back to us.
Right. So could you just highlight some of the points? Like, do you help them placing the buy bid, sell bid? Do you help them, some kind of data analytics?
Yeah, everywhere we are helping. As you are saying, all these areas, but I would say Dr. Mishra will be explaining in detail if it is required. But every area, scheduling, dispatching, helping them out, what is the best way? See, bid, it's not that bid management itself is a very complex process. What time, when should you, how much to increase, how much to decrease, everything PTC is helping them out. But Dr. Mishra, if you can explain in slightly more detail, please go ahead.
Yes, sir, you rightly said there is not only one product which we are discussing, and even the MBED doesn't describe all the other products which are there in the market. rightly pointed out by Harishji that renewable is still not under that, and many other products, including RTM market, will not be under MBED. So when you are trying to supply as a generator or when you are buying as a consumer, your profile has to be matched to the best fit curve depending upon the optimization of your power procurement. Now, this is a complex process. It's not that simply you schedule your power a day in advance through any mechanism, whether it is merit order dispatch or through MBED mechanism, and the work is done. It is a continuous process, and to assist a buyer or a seller to match the best fit curve for the optimization of their procurement or sale, the expertise both in terms of the individual domain expertise or the technology support PTC would be provided to make it a value add. And we have always mentioned that in past, and we will just repeat it, that the almost 80% of the cost of a DISCOM is from the procurement cost of power. Therefore, if you can save even a 1% of it, it is a huge number. So PTC always believed that the maximization, both in terms of selling power for IPPs and minimization of the power procurement cost for the DISCOMs and other consumers, will be of a great help if PTC can contribute something in that. And that's the value add PTC has provided to our customers.
Right. And that was very helpful. The reason that I was asking this question is, it's that the market, I mean, we have like quite a number of DISCOMs, right? And all DISCOMs are member of exchange as well. So I assume that those members would be trading on exchange directly as well and through PTC as well. So what is this? What would be the reason when like, they are doing it directly as well and through PTC as well? That is where I was coming from asking this question.
Yeah.
The simple answer is this: they have some of the DISCOMs might try it themselves. Some of the DISCOMs might try through PTC. If PTC is adding value to what I just mentioned to you, certainly a company like PTC will be a great help.
Got it. Just so finally, just picking one more again on this. So, do you think like with another exchange coming up, and now we'll have 3 exchanges, and you've been talking about the new exchange taking a lot of technological innovations. So, do you think with the value addition that we are doing currently, those kind of value addition would be incorporated by the exchange themselves?
No, exchanges are platform, and we are the service provider intermediaries. So our domain are slightly different from what the exchanges can provide. They need to be neutral, transparent, and to the best extent agnostic to the buyers and sellers. So if that is the scenario, certainly our role will be slightly different because we can do advisory, we can't do advisory. So this is the basic difference I can tell at this point.
Okay. So the exchange transactions that we do are basically on an advisory role. Would that be a good understanding?
I mentioned that the exchange are agnostic, neutral, transparent, and then they cannot provide any advisory or guidance to buyers and sellers. As an intermediary, we can do all this.
Got it. Thank you for taking your time.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Mangesh Kulkarni from Almondz Global Securities. A consultancy business, we have mentioned that we have pipeline of rupees 150 crore. Additionally, with acquisition of ILNFS, it will go up by about 150 crore. How much will be booked in current financial year?
These are some of the numbers which are ordered, which need to be serviced, and then only it converts into the top line. So as far as our understanding is concerned, we have clocked around 25 crores this financial year, and we expect that we will be getting substantial numbers. Although the ILFS transaction is for incomplete year, that is not for the full year, but we feel that this will bring substantial numbers to add to whatever we have done this year.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Any thought on divestment of Teesta Urja Limited, 1200 MW capacity?
What we have seen that one of the companies has started taking a position by acquiring the existing shareholders, and they have also been approaching us. So at present, this is the information which I can give. What will happen, how much time, etc., we will not be in a position. But yes, they have started approaching us also.
Thank you. The next question is an audio question from the line of Anshuman Ashit from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for this opportunity, and congratulations on good results. Sir, the first question is on your outlook on the medium-term and long-term volumes and the margins consequently. As we see, the net margins ex of rebate and surcharge currently is around 3.3 paise, which is quite low. So what is the outlook on this? If you could throw some light on it.
Dr. Mishra and Pankaj Goyal will be answering in detail. But what I am just saying that, see, this margin arises out of contract. So whether it is 3.3 paise and the rebate and the surcharge, all those things arise from the contract. So we are managing a contract. So in the managing of the contract, whatever margins we do, for us, ultimately that is the money which comes to our top line and bottom line.
Okay, sir. And sir, the outlook on the long-term and medium-term volumes?
Yeah, and also let me just complete the last question also. And also see this, we have been, the short-term market itself has been growing since 2004. Because what happens, the market size may be between 5%, it was beginning 5%, then 8%, then 10%, 11%. The pie size has also been increasing for last 16, 17 years. So whatever we keep adding the medium term, long term, etc., but the short term also keeps increasing. And for doing short term, our additional costs are very, very minimal. So even if at a lesser margin, it makes sense for us to catch that also if there is not hardly any cost associated with that. And whatever margin we keep getting keeps coming back to our the total operating margin and into our PBT. Now, regarding the second question which you asked, that yes, medium term, as we stated in the very beginning, that 2,500 megawatt medium term, the price was discovered last year. Then the first wave came. After that, again, traction we built up in the month of January, February, March, and we were at a very advanced stage. But then the second wave came. So there was a setback of couple of months, but we believe that from now till December or so, we should be able to freeze whatever we can freeze during the year, subject to keeping the fingers crossed that there is no third wave which is going to come.
Okay. So sir, the complete 2,500 megawatt medium term will be tied up till December.
I can't say about 2,500. But more than 1,000 megawatt, where a lot of things have happened. It's not only the contracts have not been signed, but a lot of activity before signing of contracts have happened. So we would like to begin with that first. And that, as I said, in 1 year time, if you are getting impacted for 2 months, plus 2 months, 4 months by certain waves, where there is so much of chaos, obviously the confusion is there. And that's the reason people then, at that point of time, when there is no demand certainty, what do utilities and everyone does? They just resort to the short-term market.
Yes, yes, sir.
There are so many things which are happening, but we believe that it should be more than 1,000 megawatt. How much it is going to be there? Let's wait for next 3 months or 6 months maximum.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And sir, the second question is on the receivables. So if you could share the current receivables level and the major states from which the receivables are pending.
I will refrain from saying which are the exact states, etc., because there are certain commercial things which happen. But yes, my CFO will answer all other questions. What was the loan as on 30th June? What is the working capital? How much is the per day sale? What was last year first quarter, this year first quarter? All those things let the CFO give an answer.
Yes, sir. As you are rightly saying, sir, during this quarter, our total receivables stood at around 7,811 crore. As against in March, we have an outstanding debtors of around 5,830 crore. The increase is basically because of the, that in our business there is a seasonality is a factor, and because of the seasonality thing, our debtors is increased particularly in the June quarter, and the real comparison of the debtors will see the June 19 quarter. So in the June 19 quarter also, our outstanding debtors were around 9,000 crore, and in this June 21 quarter, our receivables have come down to 7,000 crore. So because as we are all aware that in the June quarter the hydro season comes, there is a huge generation from the hydro projects. So that power comes in, and our turnover basically increase in the June quarter. So as Chairman was rightly saying that our turnover, if we see on a average day basis, so our turnover has increased by 12 crore from March to June on a per day basis. So, and our average working capital, we maintain around 30 days of working capital. So if we multiply this 30 days working capital with 12 days increase in turnover, 12 crore per day increase in turnover, so that amounts to around 400 crore, and that is the only increase which is showing in our net working capital cycle. So that's all from my side.
And about the states, etc., let me just say, states are those states where we are very comfortable. We have been in the business for last almost 20 and 19 years, I'll say, 19 years of actual trading. So whether these states are northern states like Jammu Kashmir or a western state like Bihar, these are something which we are very, very certain that all the money which we will get them, along with the delayed benefits will also accrue to us.
Okay, thank you, sir. So my final question is on a performance in the RTM and the GTAM market. If you could share the numbers for this quarter.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, the RTM number we have just mentioned. It is 1871 million units. And we mentioned that it is around 40% of the total volume. GTM market also, we have a substantial market share in the range of around 30 to 40% during this time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is a text-only question from the line of Rohit Natarajan from Antique. What is PTC plan to increase long-term trading volume? With increasing share of RE, is PTC eyeing on an opportunity there? For instance, can PTC convert unsigned PSA of solar power plants to bridge the issues we keep hearing as of now?
You are, I think the person who has asked the question, he has given the answer also. Yes, we have been looking at it very intently, and a lot of discussions keep taking place about the RE, unsold power, etc., how to make it and how to convert. See, as we said in 2013-14 also in thermal, etc., that everything is not necessarily going to be 25 years or 35 years, but that will undergo a changes. So today the RE is only 25-year market, but we believe that with the type of new product development which we are also trying to do, our business development people are trying to do, we should be in a position to offer some solution. And secondly, the second question was regarding What was the question? So second part of the question.
With increasing share of RE, is PTC eyeing on an opportunity there?
Yeah, that's why I've answered. And the second part.
For instance, can PTC convert unsigned PSA of solar power plants to bridge the issue we keep hearing as of now?
Yeah. So that I have already answered that. Dr. Mishra?
Yes, sir, you are rightly answered all the parts of it. But just to remind all our investor community and the analysts that PTC was pioneer in the first pilot of the wind interstate sale of 1050 megawatt, and from then on, the nodal agencies like SECI and NVVN has done some business. But we still feel that there are a lot of new innovative products in the medium and long term for the renewable can be seen, and there can be different ways of handling the major issue currently being faced by these two agencies. So we are trying to develop some of the products which we are discussing both with the policymakers as well as with the market participants. So we are very keen that in the renewable space, PTC can contribute something, and it because it is one growing area, we are keeping a close watch on this.
Yeah, and one more thing which I wanted to add. See, our neighboring countries are also, the generations have been going up there. So there is going to be a good traction, like Bhutan, as we did in Chukha Karichu in the beginning of our birth. Then Tala came, which was 1000 megawatt. Then we converted Mangdechu in 2019, and I'm sure this way Pune Sangchu 1 and 2 are also being developed. There has been an unusual delay because of certain structural changes which had to take place. But in next 2 to 3 years time, those power plants running into thousands of megawatt will also be coming up. And as PTC has been consistently demonstrating that Bhutan, all the powers we have been able to sign the PPA and the PSAs also. So going time, those opportunities are going to be there. And also Nepal also developments are there. Some more hydro plants are coming up. And IPPs of Nepal and the Nepal Red Sea Authority, we are all in dialogue with each other. So in other than renewable, that when he's talking about solar, etc., in hydro also, whatever happens in the future, whether in India or our neighboring this thing, other than what is being done by NTPC and NHPC, etc., PTC will be playing a very important role there also.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Deepak Amitabh for closing comments.
Thank you very much. Thank you, the investor and the analyst community, for being patient and with wonderful questions which have come today. As I have always repeated, your questions give us the guidance also, because it's a ever-changing dynamic situation and a lot of disruptions which keep taking place. But within this disruption, we have been performing and will continue to perform. Thank you very much, and I thank you all on behalf of all my management team.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of PTC India Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining. You may now click on Exit Meeting to disconnect. Thank you.